We'll begin the meeting as we always do with our land acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we gather at Santa Rosa Junior College on the territorial traditional land of the Pomo people in Santa Rosa and the Coast Miwok people in Petaluma, past and present, and honor with gratitude the land itself and the people who have stewarded it throughout the generations. As a reminder, public comment will be allowed at the appropriate time. If you would like to make a public comment in person, there are yellow comment cards in the back of the room. Please fill those out and bring them up to the front desk to Zara over here. And then if you're online, please wait to raise your hand until invited to do so by me. That brings us to item B1, announcements of reportable action from closed session. There are none. Item B2, approval of the open session agenda. Trustees, do I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any public comment or discussion on that? Seeing none, we'll go first to our student trustee for an advisory vote. Student trustee Clark.
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed or abstain? The agenda is approved. That takes us to item B3, approval of our regular meeting minutes from our last regular meeting. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes?
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion, public comment or members? Seeing none. Student trustee Clark.
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? The minutes are approved. Next, this takes us to our Employee of the Month presentation for September 2025. That'll be Lisa Hotchkiss from payroll, and we have Katie Jimenez Toscano presenting.
Board of Trustees, Dr. Garcia, and the junior college community. My name is Katie Jimenez Toscano, manager of the payroll department, and it is my honor to present Lisa Hotchkiss as our September 2025 Employee of the Month. Lisa has been a cornerstone of the district for 23 years in her current role as payroll analyst. She works closely with the Santa Rosa Junior College employees, faculty, and student workers to ensure that every paycheck, deduction, and benefit detail is handled accurately and with care. In my time with the district, I've been continuously impressed by Lisa's dedication, professionalism, and compassion. She continuously goes above and beyond to support our staff, whether it's assisting with tax, TSA, payroll, or retirement questions. One memorable example, Lisa came in on her day off to ensure an employee's retirement. Paperwork was submitted on time. That's just who she is. She genuinely cares about people and understands the impact of her work on their lives. She's a pillar of support for HR, accounting, scheduling, and the payroll department, and especially for me as a new manager. No matter how full her own plate is, Lisa always makes time to lend a helping hand or be a sounding board for anyone who needs it. She does it all with patience, kindness, and a deep commitment to teamwork. Lisa's goal is simple but powerful: to ensure we get the job done accurately, collaboratively, and with continuous learning. Her impact is felt not just within payroll, but across the entire district, because every SRJC employee benefits from the dedication she brings to her role. I'm incredibly grateful for her mentorship and unwaveringly support. She embodies what teamwork and service looks like at SRJC, and it's an honor to celebrate her today. Please join me in welcoming Lisa to the podium to say a few words and receive her gifts from the district, which is the SRJC Theater and Culinary Gifts plaque, and as well as a gift from our department.
Thank you. This was a surprise. Excuse me. It's nice to be thanked. For just doing my job. And so I appreciate that. And I appreciate all those coworkers out there that came over today. Sorry, I'm just one of those people that's emotional, but it's nice. I just have to say that. Sometimes people want to thank you and just say, okay, thanks. I appreciate that. And that's all I have to say. So thank you.
Thank you again for your service to the district and congratulations on the recognition. And as an added reward, you don't have to sit through the whole board meeting if you don't want to. So that takes us to item B5, public hearing on mutual intent to open negotiation for articles of contract between AFA and the district. Do we have any public comments on item B5? Seeing and hearing none in the room, none online. Any board members wishing to comment? All right, we will move on next to item B6, which is public comment. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board, and 20 minutes shall be the maximum amount of time allotted to speakers on any one subject. As a reminder, please state your name and affiliation before making your comments. We do have quite a few comment cards this evening on the same topic. Given those constraints, just like to note that if you don't have to use all 3 minutes, that'll allow us to get more speakers in. We definitely want everyone to be heard this evening. We're going to start with the public comments here in the room before we go online. And I will note that there were a number of comments submitted before the meeting, and as always, they're distributed to the board by staff. So those have been shared already. First up, Michael von der Porten.
Good afternoon, Mike von der Porten here as a member of the public. Okay, I want to talk about perhaps the most important topic we can talk about, and that is enrollment. And do you remember the World War II bomber study? The bombers came back from Germany back to England, and they were looking at them, and they were looking where the holes from the in the wings were and whatever. And people said, oh, those are the places that need to be reinforced. And the actual result was you need to look at the places where there were not holes, because the planes that got shot there went down. So for the JC, we don't need to look internally at our students. We need to look at our missing students. Through the 1970s, it looks like about 50 to 60% of our top performing students out of our high schools went to SRJC. Now that number is about 12%, with one exception. And I do not include private schools because people in the private school community have made a choice to leave public education. But let's look at the students in the public schools who might come here. We're missing about 50 of our key top performing high school students each year. I call them 2-year transfer students. They're going to get in here, take their classes, and move on. We're missing about 300 higher achievers per year. But there's one school that's different. That's LC Allen. And I think that shows that we can be effective at marketing. 60% of the students of the highest achievers at LC Allen are going to SRJC. So we are definitely serving that market. But what about the rest of the market? What changed from 1980 to 2020? Did SRJC change and just give up the higher achievers market? We no longer want to focus on them? Or did the community change and SRJC failed to choose to compete? So what evidence might help us evaluate this? Well, one, we should look at it. The value of the SRJC Doyle Scholarship has dropped 80% in real dollars. We're not focusing on providing dollars to students. The Doyle is no longer really a scholarship. Remember, it was scholar. Remember that word scholar? It used to be you had a 2.75 GPA. We're giving out a different message. We can look at one other piece of evidence. We've squandered or hidden away, squirreled away $13 million of Doyle scholarship money, money that should have gone to students. It's being held to support overhead and help political efforts. So think what 100 more students in our school who are going to be 2-year transfer students would do. What would 600 higher achievers do to the school? What does that do to FTES? What does it do to the budget? What does it do to the success of SRJC? I argue that SRJC should fight for those higher achievers. That market matters. We should fight for it, and we deserve no less. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Professor McGregor-Gordon.
Good afternoon, President Siobhan, Board, and members of the SRJC community. My name is Siobhan McGregor-Gordon. I'm an associate faculty member of the English for Multilingual Students Department and an AFA executive counselor. Last week, AFA President Ann Donegan shared that she would once again be addressing a joint message from AFA, SEIU, and Classified Senate in her President's report to you. This message asks the board to remain vigilant in your leadership and continue your efforts to support the SRJC community, including undocumented members, during these unprecedented and frightening times. In rereading this joint message that was delivered to you a mere 7 months ago, I was struck by how the federal government is capable of taking actions against its community members that are worse than I ever imagined, all to further their goal of terrorizing people of color who speak with an accent, regardless of their citizenship status. I urge you to keep this in mind during the AFA President's report. I appreciate the trainings and materials the district has made available to faculty and students about knowing our rights and how to respond to immigration enforcement activities in an effort to allay the fears and help prepare faculty should ICE come to our classroom doors. However, I noticed that responding to immigration enforcement is limited to classes held on campus, and this concerns me. On December 5th, 2024, Dr. Garcia sent an email with the subject line SRJC supports undocumented students and an attachment with SRJC contact information to provide to ICE agents. I replied to that email asking if there were protocols for off-campus classes and never received a response. Currently, SRJC's EMLS department is offering about a dozen non-credit CDCP or career development and college preparation classes at offsite locations. These classes serve over 300 students, the very community members the federal government has decided to persecute. Please imagine for a minute that you are the sole EMLS instructor for an evening class at an offsite location. It's November and it's dark. You're in the middle of teaching a low beginning class of 28 students who do not all speak the same first language, and masked ICE agents come to your door. The SRJC contact information is useless because it's after hours and no one is in the president's office and your class is outside the district police's jurisdiction. You can't contact local law enforcement because they're not a trusted agency among many in the immigrant community. Your students look scared. Maybe some are crying or shaking. Say ICE leaves your classroom. Do you know whether they have left the area or are they waiting for the students to walk to their cars and then accost them? I know all too well that the faculty and students I am speaking about today are not the majority. Perhaps they're not even a significant minority. They are, however, part of the SRJC community, and I urge you to remember them, keep them in mind, and develop protocols for responding to ICE when teaching at an offsite location. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. Next up, we have Jessica Melvin, and I'll let you know the order a couple in advance too. We have Guy Tillotson or Tillotson after that, and then Janelle Towser Pardo following. But Jessica, please go ahead. Your 3 minutes starts now.
All right. Hello, Board President, trustees, Dr. Garcia, and college community. My name is Jessica Melvin, and I'm the SEIU Vice President and Lead Negotiator representing the classified professionals at SRJC. Thank you to all the classified who came today to show solidarity and to those who submitted comments to the board. It's a shame that they're no longer read out loud during the meetings. The spreadsheet that I passed out to you today shows a disproportionate impact that the regressive healthcare premium increases proposed by the district will have on the classified unit, especially the lowest paid classified employees and those with families. 92 classified professionals could potentially take a pay cut, and I mean an actual pay cut, not just a reduction to their effective COLA as a result of the district's proposal. While at the same time, the highest paid employees and the very ones proposing these inequitable increases are the least harmed by them. This is not in line with the district's stated values and commitment to equity and social justice. It is my hope that the district will reassess this proposal and work with SEIU to find a more equitable solution. Too often, classified are expected to pay for the consequences of decisions they had no part in making. Thank you for your time, and feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions.
Thank you. Next up was Guy Tillotson. Yeah. And then Janelle Tauser-Pardo, and then next Vanessa Breer-Breen after that.
Thank you. Good afternoon, college community. Thank you for the time. I'm here to agree with the rationale that the very brave and intelligent leader of SEIU, Jessica, just outlined for us. And further, I just want to keep us all on the same page. I've been a part of so many conversations over the last few years that brings forth the equity that we believe in. And I know that our district represents such a strong ethical and moral force in this county. So let's work together to find an equitable solution while we make these cuts together. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Janelle Tauser-Pardo.
Yes, hello. My name is Janelle Tauser-Pardo. I was here in June talking, wasn't heard. So here I am reading my mother, Terry Tauser, statement, who was also here. Last time that was not contacted or heard. Board of Trustees and President Garcia, I'm distressed to find that nothing has changed since the June board meeting when the problem with this school's dance program were spelled out so clearly to you. You have heard that all allegations, complaints, and criminal acts have been sustained, yet the same person is in charge of your dance program and is in a powerful position to hurt students emotionally, spiritually, and potentially physically. Did you do your homework? Did you read the findings? If so, how is it possible for you to allow this cruelty to your students continue? Please do not leave us in the dark. If there are legal reasons you cannot respond to us, tell us what they are. If you are bound by union rules, then explain them. Tell us what is restricting you from acting. Tell us why you're protecting one teacher over the many students who are loudly telling you that they are being abused. I cannot believe you could sit placidly by and let this persecutor get unpunished. Does it take someone getting physically hurt? Does it take a lawsuit against the school? What is stopping you from moving on this? Why don't you hear and protect your wards, the ones you have sworn in speeches and in school policies to treat fairly and to protect? You may hope this problem will quietly disappear with time, but it will not. Until you do something, be brave, Miss President and board members. Fight for your students. Take this problem teacher out of your system. We are counting on you. And this is from Terry Tauser and Rich Lewis, the grandparents of Jordan Tauser-Pardo, who you are not protecting.
All right. Next up, Vanessa Breer-Breen. I'm sorry, I can't read that last letter. Lillian Gonzalez, and then Genevieve Machella. I was getting there. All right. Thank you. Please go ahead. You have your 3 minutes starting.
Hi, my name is Vanessa Breen, and I am a recent graduate of the SRJC dance program. When I came to the JC, I was fresh out of high school and still 17. I was still figuring out if pursuing dance was an option for me, so I decided to try a jazz class at the JC. During this time, I witnessed the teacher teach plagiarized choreography and claim it as her own. She also yelled at another student and myself, threatening to mark us absent even though we were physically present in class. Her behavior towards students was constantly disrespectful. I was told by veteran dancers at the JC, quote unquote, "That's just how she is." So I brushed it off. Growing up in the dance world, I was taught to keep quiet and follow instructions, so that's exactly what I did. The next semester, I joined the dance company. I had seen performances from previous semesters and couldn't wait to learn from student choreographers. So it's incredibly disheartening to now hear that only one student choreographer has been allowed this semester. This feels like yet another way to silence this feels like yet another way students' voices and creativity are being silenced. By bringing this teacher back to campus, you are showing students that even when they speak out, nothing will be done. The dance program has lost many students because of this teacher. I came to the SRJC hoping to find guidance and a mentor. Thankfully, I did, but it was not from this teacher. It was from another SRJC dance instructor who truly cares about her students. What I've witnessed from this professor goes beyond poor teaching. I've seen her tell an entire class that she holds power over our futures in dance and that we should not, quote unquote, burn bridges with her or anyone in the dance community. She uses fear tactics to keep students from speaking up, and for too long I stayed silent out of fear. But I am done fearing her. I am done being her pawn. I will not stay silent while more students endure the same fear and mistreatment that so many of us have already experienced. It's not too late to do something about this. We dancers love the SRJC. We believe in this program, but we are not being heard, and we will not stop until we see real change. Thank you.
But Vanessa, I see that some people submitted multiple comments. You can't read comments on behalf of someone else and get additional time, but you had 53 seconds remaining on your time. So if you'd like to at least read what's remaining of your time, I will allow that.
Thank you.
So if we can just, let's maybe set it for a minute for this time, if that's possible. Or we'll count down. I guess it defaults to 3, but when it's down to 1, down to 2, excuse me. Please
Dear
go ahead.
SRJC Board of Directors, I'm writing this letter out of concern for our dance department, specifically the continued support and protection of an instructor here at SRJC. My name is Braylon Ernest, and this is my 3rd semester at SRJC. During my 1st semester at the school, I got into a class with her and it was hellish. She was a nightmare, often coming into class agitated, angry, and distant. We never knew what she might start yelling about, or randomly changing an assignment without warning, or talk badly about others before and after class. As time went on, I got to know more about her, small things like how this professor stressed my friend out so bad that she had to take anxiety meds before class every day, how she told another friend that if he did not listen to her, then he would be excommunicated from the dance community forever, and then another friend who told me about how this instructor shamed her for her body. But I didn't worry, the professor was gone now, but we had Tanya Knippelmeyer, who ran the dance program spring semester fantastically
Right.
with compassion, creativity, and respect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Lillian Gonzalez, and this is another one where I have duplicates. So you have 3 minutes for in total for everything you want to say. So
Okay,
whether
thank
you're
you.
reading or giving your own comments, so please go ahead.
Hi, my name is Lillian Gonzalez. I was a JC dance member for 3.5 years. I started when I was 14 years old, and I started off with this professor said. And just like many of us has experienced, she showed us the world. She told us all of the things that she could give us, just as long as we stood by her. And I believed every word. The professor at hand tried to convince me to drop out of high school, to continue dancing, and to dance full time. They tried to convince my parent to help me take classes online, so that way I could only be dancing from 8 a.m. till 8 p.m. with all of the adult dancers. And it was hard. It was very hard. I didn't know what to do. The older I got, I chose a career path that this professor did not like. The professor at hand would often talk very ill upon the career that I was going towards, and told me that I need to choose between my career or dance. And freshly graduating, I needed to choose my career. It's something that I have been working towards for the past 7 years. And although I love dance, it has been a way for me to express myself. My creativity has been able to help me with trauma, with mental health, but it's not what's going to help me full time. And I had to go to Sacramento for an overnight training for my career. And I got in contact with the professor 3 times. I left voicemails. I even had my boss leave voicemails. And I went up to the professor in person to let her know that I will be missing 1 day of rehearsals, which in the guidelines, it says that we are allowed to miss 2. If we miss 2 classes, then we will be dropped from the course. She said that she heard my voicemails and that it's fine. If I choose to go to my trainings, then I will be excused. Later on, I got an email from another professor saying that I had been dropped from a piece because I missed 1 day, and that this professor went on to tell other dance members that I had been cut from the program because they had no clue what I was doing, where I was going, or if I will ever be back. I continued to be here for another semester while this professor was gone, and I have never been threatened to be dropped. I have been embraced as a creator, and I've ran out of time, and there's a lot more that I feel like needs to be said, but I will admit it is scary coming forward about this professor because they have threatened us multiple times if we come forward. So thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Genevieve, followed by Jordan Tazar-Pardo.
Hello, my name is Genevieve Michelik, and although I wish I could say all is well, it most certainly is not. This has been true in our dance department for a very long time, and by now you are well aware of this fact. When I last spoke, I expressed hope that we could begin a soft launch into meaningful change, but maybe I came off too timid because I don't think my voice was heard. Because instead, what students were faced with at the beginning of this fall semester was an administrative leave and an HR investigation that ultimately resulted in the same faculty member resuming authority, teaching multiple classes, and once again being placed in charge of our performing and touring dance companies. So I must respectfully ask, what the hell is going on? Students and faculty have come forward for days, months, and with a burning disappointment, years, describing a pattern of behavior that includes mistreatment, retaliation, and a destructive dance and learning environment. Concerns have been continuously swept under the rug, yet we are expected to remain intentionally silent in our protests in order to be considered professional or proactive. With all this, we are still met with no accountability, no change, no answers, and no solutions. And due to this, the responsibility of justice has been left in the hands of children and young adults. Is that not frankly embarrassing to you? Or is it really only me that gets secondhand embarrassment seeing this faculty member time and time again avoid accountability by claiming to be the victim? The response to our protest last week was a public email that read, "It is with great pain that I cancel class today. I am unable to go to campus for fear of my safety in a hostile work environment." But it's funny how it gives me deja vu because this is not the first time this excuse has been used. In my personal experience, it is the 4th. In the summer of 2023, and I quote, "We are allowed to attend nationals, but at this time I am concerned for my safety and the safety of several of you that Gabe does not like," even though the said faculty member was the first to incite defamation towards the student's character by publicly asking and hence insinuating that they were being a bad influence on another student. In the fall of 2023, the first email from said faculty said, "I received some disappointing news that someone in the Pigment cast was maligning and gossiping about a director yesterday in a group chat that included SRJC company alumni and friends outside of the SRJC. This is both unprofessional and a violation of the dance company contract and SRJC code of conduct. Gossiping and verbally disrespecting directors is in this manner will not be tolerated." While this message was presented, even though right after this code of conduct meeting, I heard the director myself call the chair of our department and ask to a fellow student. We commented on how this situation was hypocritical, and an email followed after stating, "At this time, there are too many students involved, and I don't feel it is safe for us to be driving long distances and performing tonight in this state," to which they promptly encouraged us to remedy their choice in performance cancellation, with everyone taking a breath and resetting so we could all hug it out later. Diabolical. Lastly, in December 2023, Jordan's mother commented on the lack of professionalism by said faculty member and advocated for the validity of the weight of the grade change that was placed on Jordan. Said faculty responded with, "Although I'm extremely offended by your mother's verbal attack and
That's your 3
degradation."
minutes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next up, Jordan Tazar-Pardo, and I also have multiple, I think, that list you. So 3 minutes for the totality of everything you're going to say. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Jordan Tauser Pardo, and I truly can't believe that I'm here again asking you today as a student and advocate for accountability and equity within the dance department at Santa Rosa Junior College to do your job. I wanted to reinstate that I had to file a discriminatory grievance letter based on my temporary disability, and then a second grievance based on retaliation through the investigation process, where all of the investigation allegations were sustained, proven with evidence. I want to continue speaking directly at the serious issue that has not only affected and still affects me, but also speaking up for the many fellow dancers since returning to campus, who now don't even have the buffer of Tanya Knippelmeyer. What we are experiencing is not just miscommunication or misunderstanding. This is deliberate, repeated retaliation where this professor targets students who have dared to speak up or ask for fair treatment. This retaliation has taken many forms: open hostility, exclusion from opportunities, and a culture of fear where dancers are afraid to express themselves or even show up. Dancers, today we are showing up, and we did as well at auditions. The impact on our mental health and education progress has been significant and is unacceptable. This continued cancellation of classes without arranging for substitutes is impacting the students. You, the SRJC leaders, are leaving students stranded and forced to figure out how to meet their academic and performance requirements on their own. Not to mention the fact that all of these students are paying students who are paying fees that will soon be non-refundable. These aren't just minor absences, they are disruptions that are jeopardizing the students' education, our credits, and our futures. How is this all falling on deaf ears? We believed in SRJC and all of you sitting here to do the right thing, yet here we are again. And now the only thing that has changed is the fact that she has had a year of paid leave, no behavioral changes, the outing of our beloved safe instructor, Tanya Knippelmeyer, and then a promotion to full-time director of the dance program. This is unacceptable. Do better. We will not stop showing up, speaking out, and sharing our stories until you hold this bully accountable. It is so easy to see when people came together, encouraged to stand up to the tyrant, the bully could no longer control and manipulate, so she became the victim. I want to use this last moment of my time to publicly thank the Oakley for acknowledging and showing up to our protest. Oliver Kent and Adair Alvarez Rodriguez did an incredible job describing and capturing all angles of what has been going on for years in this department. We are not asking, we are demanding that the board takes these concerns seriously, investigates the practices in the dance departments, protects their students, and ensures that retaliation has no place at Santa Rosa Junior College. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have Gabriel Rizzo, followed by Deban Medina and Emmett Grayson. So.
I apologize ahead of time. I'm a dance major, not an English or public speaking major. But hello and good afternoon. It pains me to have to come up here again and speak not only my truth, but the truth of the students and faculty here at the dance department at the SRJC. You see, the last time I was here, I was hoping it would have been enough when I shared my story in the dance department with this one horrible instructor. I never asked for this. I don't want to have to be here speaking in pain to you about the malice here on campus. I want to celebrate it being my final year at the SRJC. I've been a full-time employee working my ass off to achieve my degree. Like I said in June, I've had great professors like Tara Jacobson in CAD, like Christopher Cullen in the English department, Joy Erickson McNally in biology. I'm here today because my mentors, Tanya Knippelmeyer, Carrie Stillman, and Tamara Gross in the dance department made me not only the dancer, but the leader I am today. We are all fighting for a fair, equal, honest, and inclusive program like the other dance instructors intend it to be. My academic experience outside this one tyrant's classes has been exceptional. The dance classes taught by other dance instructors have been exceptional. But being a dance major, there has been no other way of escaping from the trauma that comes with the bully in this department. Look at the signs around you. Watch and open your eyes to all the students, faculty that held signs, and hope you finally listen. And I say finally because enough is enough. I say finally because it's about time we, the students, get a response from you, President Garcia. You are leaving the dance department on red, unseen, and in the hands of not just a bully, but a monster. This monster has gaslit students against one another in fear of retaliation, punishment, and lost opportunities. This is not a situation of crazy dance moms. I'm here because I'm a victim, not a threat like this beast claims me to be. What are you here for, Board of Trustees? A check? Correct me if I'm wrong. If I were to plagiarize my work and turn it in as my own, wouldn't I be expelled and face the consequences and have it on my record for life? This so-called instructor plagiarized other students, educators' work and has set them on our stage, crediting her name as the choreographer. The only names I have for her is coward, narcissist, manipulative, racist, bully, plagiarizing, monster. Wake up, SRJC. Wake up, Board of Trustees. I'm sorry, but wake up, Angelica. The students matter. The faculty matters. At the end of the so-called
is, your
community
3
inviting auditions, this instructor told the whole group she'd accept only high-level
Please wrap up.
dancers. What if I were to tell you, Angelica, I'm only accepting
Please
a
wrap
high-level
up.
president? How would you feel?
Next up, Jambed Medina.
Good afternoon. My name is Debbie Ann Medina. I was hired to teach physical education here at SRJC in January of 1980. I was adjunct faculty until 1995, when I was then hired full-time to teach both physical education and dance. The last 20 years prior to my retirement in 2016, I was a dance coordinator. It was at this time that the new full-time dance instructor was hired to replace me. I am here in support of the many talented students who are not getting the education they deserve. The current full-time dance instructor since fall of 2016 has inappropriate, intimidating, harassing, retaliatory behaviors that have contributed to the situation these students are so bravely demonstrating about today. I have been told there's a school policy where only currently enrolled students can file a formal complaint and that past students cannot now file a grievance. This is unfortunate, as past students could not safely come forward when an incident would occur during classes, as she would retaliate against them, causing them to lose out on important educational experiences. Their only option was to be quiet, not file grievances, so they could continue their education. In addition to that, students from 2017 and 18 who did have complaints were not supported and their complaints were minimized. It is very disturbing that she can flat out commit criminal offenses, offering to buy alcohol to underage dancers at ACDA, which is a college dance conference she takes select dancers to each year. And the school can't do a thing about that due to these current policies. Her inexcusable behavior extends toward the dance faculty as well. She has never been inclusive nor acted as a team leader for the dance program. She has changed curriculum, schedules, and disrupted the general program focus, all on her own without taking any input from the dance faculty. It is my belief that if there were to be a faculty meeting and she could possibly be present, no one would go. I know I would not go. I do not feel safe around her. The dance program was thriving when I retired in 2016. Unfortunately, since then, there has been a downhill spiral of enrollment, student development towards dance certificates and dance majors, and a decline in general community interest. It is not harsh to say that this current full-time dance instructor is to blame for this steady decline, even given the fires and COVID setbacks all education in general had to endure. What will it take? She is dangerous and should not be permitted to threaten anyone, faculty or students, with her intimidation and hostile attitudes, her outbursts of uncontrolled anger towards students and faculty, inappropriate language, and even providing her sexual situations has no place in our classrooms. Please find a way. The students are in a terrible situation, and historically this has continued because students were afraid to have to confront her. It is great that they are currently showing so much bravery. We are all asking in different ways that you find a way to remedy these injustices the students and faculty have had to endure. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Next up, Emmett Grayson, followed by Madeline Yaramillo. And then Cynthia Santos.
I just want to say I apologize if I stutter because I get nervous. And I'm a dancer for a reason. I don't speak. But I would like to start with I am soon to be a full-time dance student here, in which I am a part of the LGBTQ community. And based on the treatment of former LGBTQ students, I am scared. I am scared for my future and my own mental health. Even as I stand here today, I'm shaking. I am scared that because I'm scared. I'm scared of this person, and I am scared that she is going to negatively affect my future, in which I don't want to have this fear anymore. And I met this person when I was just 15, still kind of trying to physically recover from COVID, in which I did not have the training or experience with the piece, in which none of the items in the costume closet would fit. And that was the first issue she had with me. She had considered dropping me from the piece entirely due to my size. And for the visual people in the room, I was closer to a offensive lineman in football rather than a dancer. And that had taken a huge shot on my mental health and my ounce of comfortability in my own skin from me. And still, with her in the room, I still fear that I look the same. And I fear that just because I may mess up or maybe miss a step or I'm off account, that I will be immediately kicked from the piece. And dance has been my safe place for now as long as I can remember. And I don't want anyone else to have this fear of expressing themselves through their art and through the JC, in which even during auditions, I was terrified to even look at her. I was scared that if I speak up and share my feelings, that my whole future can be destroyed in a second because of this person's influence. And I don't wish that upon anyone ever. And I don't want to have anyone else be in her line of sight of anger and disdain towards anyone who feels that they need to speak out, in which I believe that everyone here who is speaking out against her is extremely brave. And it's long overdue for someone to say something about her, in which I just wish that you all hear our voices today, and hopefully you hear the genuine fear in my voice, that finally something will happen. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Madeline Yaranillo, and then Cynthia Santos.
Hi, my name is Madeline, and I'm a dancer here for my second semester at the JC. I come from the SSU dance program, which was just shut down due to recent budget cuts. Our program at SSU worked to actively co-create an inclusive and joyful environment for its students, and this environment thrived because our directive faculty centered practices of actionable engagement within our commitments to each other and our values as artists. I've been dancing for 9 years, and I have never encountered a dance space as toxically captured by its directors as I have seen here at the JC. The dancers here at the JC are some of the most passionate and lively artists I have ever met. I had the privilege of getting to know them this last fall when I was invited into their collective with the same warmth that continues to resist Cassandra Hillman's harm. Cassandra, I spent my first 30 minutes in a room with you at auditions last week. I have never felt my friends chill so quickly beside me. Their passion twists inside them as they release their breath, preparing not only to dance, but to defend themselves. It was clear to me in 5 minutes that you do not hold the purpose of the dance space or program in your heart, no purpose of professionalism even, and certainly no reverence or awareness of our capabilities. There was only one other adult administrator in the room, Matt Markovich, who sat in stillness. In real time, we have seen your colleagues submit and enable you. We can feel the grip you have on them and the way that you tighten it through your own performing. But you too are a fool to think that your toxic positivity can mask your own inauthenticity. I see the students fighting back the fear that you trigger in them and the ways that they navigate the emotional manipulation you pursue. We will continue to fight it and stand for the environment that we want to co-create and care for, the place that is their home as dancers. The place where we can express ourselves fully in confidence in the space, the work, and the artistic research. Continuing to show up in the program for each other is a nature embedded in dance, embedded in the protection of one another and our responsibilities to activate and move not just our bodies, but our consciousness, to reflect in deep care the environments that we experience in and observe. This is true for all artists and for the practice of humility, which we are joining you in right now. No measure of policies can better retain these reflections than of your active practice and active support of these students moving forward. It is important that the members here in this meeting understand in addressing these issues because you systematically are a line of authority that can take up actionable support now. At a time right now, it is important that the board also perceives the realities that many people in this room will be the ones to continue to face the harassment, continue to face the bullying and the disrespect of Cassandra Hillman until actions are taken to distance her and this program from her. We will continue to find deep camaraderie and trust in each other while we are also sharing and connecting with the wider dance community to see that these experiences of ours are not isolated. This is the time to confront Cassandra and to protect the integrity of the program.
That's
to protect
your 3
students.
minutes. Thank you. Next up, Cynthia Santos, followed by Kat Rauschuber. Cynthia, are you? Oh, yes, please go ahead.
Hi, folks. My name is Cynthia. I work for the SRJC IT Help Desk. If you recognize my voice, it's likely because I've assisted you at some point, and I'm happy to see all of you. I don't typically come to board meetings. I wish I did. Like many of us, I have a lot of things going on in my life that prevent me from being a regular member at these meetings. However, I'm here today to talk to you guys because I was honestly a little shocked to hear news that not shocked to hear that we're going to get cuts at the COLA for classified individuals. We all know life is getting more expensive in our current world state and that things are going to get complicated. But what did shock me was that the folks that are proportionally bearing the greatest financial burden are our lowest paid workers. And I looked through the list because I was curious after getting that email, who was going to be the most affected out of the people that I help, that I know. Those are going to be our farm maintenance technicians up at Schoen Farm, who help our tractors run and help our students learn how to do agriculture. These are our culinary retail clerks at the wonderful Bordeaux Bakery, of which many of us enjoy those treats when we can get them. These are our childcare associate faculty who teach our children, our students' children, and prepare them for life. And last, but definitely not least, our custodial technicians who ensure that all of us have a clean and hygienic place to work and who always do it with a smile. I see a lot of these folks in my daily work. I appreciate all of them. And to know that a decision has been made that will disproportionately affect them financially, those who already get paid the least, frankly, I found it shameful. You know, federally, it's hard to, in this country, in this world, it's hard to believe that equality is possible. But I do know that a little bit more about proportions. And I know that proportionally, those who earn the least will be the most affected by these changes. You know, sorry, I do get a little nervous in front of all these people, it turns out. Knowing that I know myself, I would never make myself or allow myself to be a leader of a large, vibrant community such as this because I love myself as well. But if I had the distinct honor of serving this community,
That is your 3 minutes, so if you can just wrap up.
I would not ask the community to bear burdens I'm not willing to undertake myself. So I asked the deans, the senior directors, the VPs, and the president to take an additional or to volunteer for additional COLA cuts to match our custodial technicians who work so hard for our community. Please commit to this and you will earn the trust of your community, another classified unit.
Thank you. Last up, Kat Rauschhuber.
Good afternoon. My name is Kat Rauschhuber. I'm here today to stand in solidarity with my fellow dancers in the SRJC dance program in their brave attempts to help the college administration understand the negative impacts of one of its tenured instructors. After not taking dance classes in almost 2 decades, I became inspired to return to the incredible world of dance 2 years ago. Since then, I have taken 7 or 8 dance classes at SRJC, performed with the dance company last spring as their oldest cast member, and I'm currently enrolled in 3 dance classes this current semester. However, during my first semester at SRJC in the spring of 2024, I took a jazz class with the instructor in question. Instead of teaching a jazz class, she used the class time to choreograph a piece for the spring dance performance, which I was unable and unwilling to participate in because I had a knee injury. Had it been a typical dance class, similar to the ballet class I took that same semester successfully, I would have found ways to safely participate at my ability level at the time. Instead, the class time was wholly devoted to choreographing and rehearsing a piece that I would never be able to perform. Despite this, I showed up for most classes, although I did miss a few. I ultimately was given a grade of not passing, despite attempts to work with the instructor on things I could do to make up my absences. It seemed rather ridiculous and hypocritical to fail me for a dance class that never actually happened anywhere close to as billed in the official course catalog. I should also note that I'm aware of another student who was enrolled in the class and who had a similar injury, but received an A despite never having to attend. Clearly a mess of a grading system. Further, during that same jazz class, I witnessed the instructor speaking to one of the other less advanced dance students in a way I found to be extremely disrespectful. Mind you, this was an all levels class, one where all ability levels should be supported. I'm still very bothered by the fact that I did not speak up at the time in public, during class, or in private, giving feedback to the instructor. This inappropriate behavior happened on several occasions, and it made me extremely uncomfortable and frankly furious to witness. A good dance teacher is supportive while giving feedback and should not use words or intonation that tears down a student. The whole jazz class incident left me with a super bad taste in my mouth about this instructor. I did not challenge my grade because I'm not taking classes at SRJC as progress for a certificate or a degree. I already have a master's degree in public policy. However, unfortunately, the incident has kept me from taking classes this semester that I would have loved to take. I would absolutely love to take the choreography class being offered, but when I saw that it was this particular instructor teaching
Thank you. That is your 3 minutes. Do we have any speakers online wishing to speak? I have no more comment cards and seeing no more public comments here in the room. We will close the public comment, move on to item B7, monthly updates, starting with the college president report from Dr. Garcia. Thank you for everyone who has attended for public comments.
Good evening, President Siobhan, trustees, students, colleagues, and members of the public. I am happy to be fully back on campus after being out for a second knee surgery. Grateful to the leadership of Kate Jolly, who served as acting president during my time away, and all who contributed to supporting the work of the district. I do want to begin briefly by extending my congratulations to Lisa Hotchkiss on her recognition as Employee of the Month. Her 24 years of service in a department as critical as payroll is remarkable. And also, I want to wish her the best as she prepares for the next chapter. I do want to be a responsive leader of this organization, and I want to take a moment to acknowledge that there are several matters that have been brought forward from concerned students, community members, and colleagues in various formats, including this evening. The district is currently in negotiations with SEIU at the table, and we will continue to negotiate in good faith on all matters. There has been growing media attention regarding our athletics program. Santa Rosa Junior College is committed to fostering an inclusive and supportive environment for all students and employees. The district complies with California Community College Athletic Association, we refer to as 3C2A regulations, which govern student eligibility and participation in our athletic programs. We respect the legal privacy rights of all students and cannot discuss individual circumstances. What we can affirm is that SRJC takes all reports seriously and responds through established procedures. The district takes all reports and complaints of SRJC personnel seriously and through established procedures. While we cannot comment on personnel matters, I want to express that you have been heard. We are certainly in some challenging times with many external pressures placed upon us as a public institution of higher education. But I know that when we work together openly and with care for one another, we are able to be the type of community that students and colleagues alike are included and respected. My commitment to students and this community is real. I hear you, I see you, and will commit to ensuring that all parts of our community are accountable to the responsibility we each have to uphold our mission, vision, and values. I'm incredibly grateful for the participation of students throughout these board meetings. I'd like to shift because it's a new academic year and the energy is buzzing and bright throughout campuses and sites. Overall, the number of students, course enrollments, and number of sections offered are up from fall 2024. The growth is primarily supported by students who are continuing their education without a significant break in course enrollment. And a few highlights include SRJC Petaluma increased by just over 300 students, serving nearly 3,400 students. SRJC Roseland almost doubled the number of sections offered and is serving over 200 more students than in the fall of 2024 for a total of 851 students. That is significant for our community. Schoen Farm students are enrolling in just over 100 more enrollments compared to last fall. And we've seen significant gains, statistical significant gains in enrollment of African American, Native American, and Pacific Islander students. Our college and career access pathways, which we call CCAP, and to which this board has entered into agreements with other K-12 districts, have also contributed to our strategic growth in partnership with local high schools, increasing to 522 students from 234 last fall. Just recently, we had over 200 students here last week enjoying of the fact that they are in fact college students and learning of the resources available to them. Overall, SRJC has an unduplicated head count of 23,528 students who are enrolled in over 58,300 enrollments, and we have totaling an FTES of 5,125. Now, those are all numbers, but really what it is that it is showing the upward trajectory and the work that is taking place on behalf of everyone. The classified professionals, faculty, and administrators who have worked together to support student access and continued success. We have had gains in almost every critical area of student enrollment and engagement. However, an imperfect community we might be, students are coming to SRJC because they know they can receive quality education and care here. I am wishing a strong and meaningful semester of teaching and learning to all, and I hope to see many more successful continuation into the spring semester. You're going to hear from our student trustee, so I'm going to be sure not to share any comments that she might be sharing, but the Student Government Assembly has worked in collaboration with academic and student services programs to provide amazing engagement opportunities for students, such as welcome days, club fair, disability resource fair, to name a few. I encourage students, colleagues, and community members to refer to our events calendar. Excuse me, to support ongoing activities, theater and music performances, athletic events. Show students that you support them by joining in on their activities. For a little snapshot, this week includes the Mediva Scholars Welcome Mixer on the Petaluma campus tomorrow at noon in Jacobs Hall. The SRJC Painters opening reception on Thursday afternoon from 4 to 6, displaying student art in the Agrella Art Gallery, and the new employee welcome reception hosted by affinity groups this Friday afternoon. Just last week, the Transfer Center hosted an incredibly successful transfer fair with high levels of engagement from transfer institutions and students. I heard several remarks from college representatives that the SRJC fair is one of the best, and that SRJC students are some of the strongest students they see throughout the transfer process. Truly, congratulations to all programs and services for a strong start. I've shared but a snapshot, but if you go to that events calendar, you will see all the wonderful things you can partake in. Moving on to a little bit more of a national perspective, there are 425 HSIs, Hispanic Serving Institutions, throughout the country. 171 here in California alone, and these 171 HSIs represent nearly 45% of all California students in public higher education. SRJC is the 12th oldest California community college, and we became HSI in 2014. And here, paying attention to national news, the July 25th letter of this year from the Solicitor General of the U.S. Department of Justice stated that the departments made a decision not to defend the constitutionality of Hispanic serving institutions in the ongoing litigation involving the state of Tennessee and Students for Fair Admissions, which seek to eliminate the HSI designation and all subsequent funding. As the proud superintendent president of SRJC, I'm honored to be in spaces where statewide and national conversations are taking place, where I get to advocate for SRJC students, for the over 43% students that identify as Latine, but more importantly for all SRJC students, because the federally funded programs that we offer are open to all SRJC students. These cuts, these funding cuts will have dire consequences to students, and our voice is important. So with that, I want to share that September 8th through 14th is recognized as HSI Week, and this year its significance is critical. Again, I want to thank my colleagues, classified professionals, faculty, and student leaders who have worked together to support diverse programs and activities that support all students, regardless of their racial, ethnic identity. Whew. Now, with all of that, I do want to share that, and I mentioned just a little bit briefly that however an imperfect community we may be, we are in fact this community's college. We offer amazing academic programs, student services programs. We are supporting students who are lifelong learners, who are seeking a certificate, who are seeking a degree for transfer, who are seeking to be a part of a community. And I am grateful to this board for your commitment to supporting students, to your commitment to ensuring that we all do our part in support of our mission. Thank you very much. I wish everyone a great start to your fall year. With that, that concludes my remarks for this evening.
All right, thank you, Dr. Garcia. Next, we'll go to Trustee Valdivinos with the Schoen Farm Foundation report.
Good afternoon, everybody. The Schoen Farm Foundation Board met on Monday, August 4th to discuss the ongoing cost of winemaking, the past fiscal year sales, and approval of the 2025-26 budget. Wine sales from the 2020-24-25 fiscal year matched expected numbers, approximately $51,000, and the wine club continues to add members despite a challenging economic environment. Discussion also noted that the current 2025-26 fiscal year is anticipated to be impacted by broader industry headwinds. Because of this, the winery will skip making a 2025 vintage. However, it will still be releasing 2024 vintages this fall, including Sauvignon Blanc, Rosé, and Chardonnay. Marketing, sales, and wine club activities will continue as the winery utilizes existing inventory and continues to analyze its business model. Thank you.
Thank you. Next to Trustee Martinez with the Board Finance Committee update.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Buenas tardes. The Board Finance Committee met on August 29 to review and approve the 2025-26 adopted budget. The committee received an update of the 25-26 budget and went through the budget book. Very exciting times. The discussion included the revenue and expense budget assumptions, the 24-25 ending financial information, the proposed 2025-2026 adopted budget for the various funds, and questions for longer term fiscal sustainability. And there will be a presentation later today. Oh, she's right there. To present the actual budget to the full board for approval.
All right, thank you. Next up, we have the Ad Hoc Board Policy and Procedure Review Committee update from Trustee Battenfeld.
Right, the Board Policy Review Committee met on August 20th. We're continuing our review of remaining board policies and administrative procedures that are in Chapter 2, which relate to the Board of Trustees. Since convening in spring 2024, we've completed a review of 40 policies and procedures, which include bylaws of the boards of trustees and the policy manual. And we've also reviewed 57 unique California Community League of California Community College templates. We're presenting 7 policies as information items today, and they'll come back for board approval next month. The committee is on track to finalize its work and complete our full transition of Section O, which is the way we used to do policies, into Chapter 2, which is the new template, which follows better other guidelines. And we're hoping to finish everything before the end of fall semester. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Next, we are to the bond update with Vice President Kate Jolly.
I'm going to start tonight in Petaluma with the Media Services IT and Tutorial Project. We have finally received approval from DSA. They did add some scope to the project related to the fire life safety assessment. So we are assessing that for increased costs and financial feasibility. Once the funds have been identified, we anticipate this project will occur in 2 phases, with the media portion in spring of 2026 and the tutorial phase in fall of 2026. Going up to Public Safety Training Center for the fire tower, we're currently in design. We do plan to submit increment 1 plans to DSA shortly, and then we are currently working with the vendor engineers and plan to submit the tower plans in early spring. We currently anticipate the construction to be complete by December of 2026. Here in Santa Rosa, we're substantially complete in the Bertolini DRD and Career Hub renovation. We're working on identifying any outstanding items and completing the punch list. At Forsyth, as we reported last month, we're substantially complete with the HVAC and roof project. The occupants are now back in the building. So we're working on commissioning and the punch list, and we'll bring the NOC forward soon to close out the project. For Lunabis auto lift installation and the ADA upgrade project, the lifts have been installed. They're currently being powered. There were some missing parts that we found when we opened up the boxes, so we're working with the vendor on those. It's delaying us a little bit, but as part of the DSA review, they did add an ADA compliant restroom to the project, and we'll be working on that later this month. For Pioneer Security, we are still in DSA review with this project. We've gotten some additional requests related to previous done work in the building. We continue to address DSA comments and questions, and we currently anticipate completion by early next year. For the large classroom at Race, we anticipate DSA approval in next few weeks and completion in spring of next year. For Towser, we're now substantially complete finally. We're conducting training and commissioning as well as working through the punch list. As you can see in the pictures, the branding is in. We're installing the new weight room equipment. We've completed the landscaping all around and started the 90-day maintenance period there. And we will move that. We're still planning to move occupants in over the winter break. We have change order number 11 with resolution 12-25 for Alton Construction for $120,705. This is from some additional waterproofing and numerous other design related and unforeseen condition changes as we reconcile with the contractor. This brings our total change orders to 10.5% for the project. So there's a resolution on the agenda for approval. We are carrying a 12% contingency on the project, so we're still within budget. At SRJC, Roseland Heritage opened for classes at the start of the semester. We've completed the interior and exterior painting, structural upgrades, HVAC, flooring, and bathrooms. The AV technology and security have all been updated, and we're working on commissioning on this portion of the Roseland modernization project. For the Welcome Center, it's also moving along nicely. We have poured sidewalks and the flat work, the roof installation and the underlayment are installed, and we'll begin installing the metal roof next. On the exterior, we've installed the lath and began applying the stucco this week. On the interior, we've built the walls out. We're currently working on the insulation and hanging the drywall and refining. We're currently refining the timeline with the contractor, and we'll bring an update next month. So we have two items on the agenda that I haven't highlighted yet. The first is for Harrison Associates for an extension of time and an additional $77,652 for labor compliance. Harrison Associates is the firm that manages all of our state labor compliance paperwork for the district for all of our public works projects. We have an amendment for Strata Information Group for the implementation of the student information system. We're refining the final timeline, which will impact the length of the project with Strata, SIG as we call them. So this extension is for 500 hours to allow additional time to complete that assessment. I will bring a final contract amendment forward, hopefully next month for approval. I would also like to add, before I close, that we have changed the time for the board facilities meeting starting in October. We will now be meeting from 9 to 10 a.m. on the first Tuesday of every month, and we welcome everybody to join us. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. Any board members with questions? All right, seeing none, we'll go to our student trustee report with student trustee Clark.
Good afternoon, Board President Shaban, board members, President Dr. Garcia, and college community. Thank you for the opportunity to update you all. I want to start by saying I hope everyone is doing well and taking care of themselves in our current political and campus climate. I'd like to start with some personal updates in my work. I attended a webinar 2 weeks ago hosted by our Student Senate for California Community Colleges, covering resources from serving on college boards, strategies for engaging other trustees, ways to engage with students, laws empowering students, and additional information. This experience was really special to get to meet around 30 of our new student trustees, Dr. Adams, the president of SSCCC, previous student trustees now scattered across colleges, the Board of Governors, and other legislative areas. We had open forums for questions and discussions on the revival of the Student Trustee Caucus that I'm really excited to be involved in moving forward. I also went to our Save the Youth resource fair put together by our Students for Recovery Club and program, and I wanted to emphasize how important overdose prevention and awareness is in our community, especially here at SOJC and throughout Sonoma County, where the ongoing opioid crisis continues to affect individuals and families across all backgrounds. It's critical that we advocate for increased access to harm reduction resources, mental health support, and education, particularly for young people and students who may be navigating these challenges silently. Next, I'd like to draw attention to item C1, introduction of new regular faculty, and connect it to discussions from our recent academic senate meeting. As a reminder, these new faculty members are here to support our students who are active learners committed to their education. Students want to be involved in the most meaningful way by being active partners in ways that align with communication and anti-bias principles. Having gone through anti-bias training this year on a hiring committee, I can attest to its importance in shaping inclusive practices. We are being taught by the very faculty on the Senate, so trust the teaching that you're giving us and trust your students that we know when and how to make appropriate decisions. Please join me in welcoming our new faculty members as they begin their first year with us. I hope this introduction marks the beginning of a successful and engaging partnership with the SRJC community. Regarding the new use of generative AI, even though we cannot always be in the meetings, students are very engaged in conversations about its role and impact in the classroom. From a student perspective, there's a clear desire for transparency and clear guidelines on how AI can or should be used in coursework, as well as how instructors will communicate those expectations. Students want to be informed about the guardrails in place and need clarity on when the use of AI might be considered academic dishonesty. We cannot ignore the inevitable evolution of AI technology. This is why having a task force that includes all perspectives, including students, is critical to ensure fair, thoughtful, and effective policies. While I don't have all the answers, I want to emphasize the necessity of providing students with the resources they need to succeed and having a meaningful seat at the table when decisions affecting them are being made. This is part of our right as students under Title V to participate in shared governance known as the 9+1. With everything currently unfolding, I want to use my closing remarks to speak about the SRJC students, especially in light of a recent issue involving one of our athletic teams that has become highly visible in the media. I want to remind everyone that these are our students. They are here to pursue certificates, degrees, and transfer opportunities, all while managing school, playing a sport that they care deeply about, participating in extracurriculars, working jobs, and handling the realities of everyday life. The situation is just one example of the many pressures students are navigating right now. More broadly, I encourage students to continue showing up, attending classes, completing their work, and using the resources available to them both online and in person. Balancing academics, employment, and personal responsibilities takes real energy and commitment. I see that and I stand with you. As a community, let's continue to support one another. I ask this board, our faculty, and everyone listening to remember that students are managing much more than what's visible in a classroom. They deserve understanding, patience, and care. It's also important that we think critically. Many of us are not directly involved in this situation, and we don't have the full picture. Media narratives can shape public opinion quickly, but they rarely reflect the complexity behind an issue. Let's remain thoughtful, question what we're told, and stay grounded in our values. At the center of this are students with full lives, emotions, and experiences. If you choose to engage, do so responsibly. Thank you for your attention. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Next, we're to other board member comments. Any other board members wishing to speak? Trustee Battenfeld.
Yeah, I just wanted to real briefly say that I'm a member of the State Affordability Task Force. That's their goal is to address basic needs of students for housing, access to food, transportation, things like that. And we had a full day meeting, and I especially want to invite board members and anybody else in the college community. We're about to release our basic needs survey that we did last year. There's going to be a webinar about that on September 24th to present the information. And there's still a lot of needs we've made. The report study shows that we've made some progress, but we still have a long ways to go. And it especially demonstrates how meeting basic needs connects to student success academically, which I think we all know, but it's nice to know that in this survey. So attend that, and I think we're getting the results specifically for the JC, and I think we'll probably be hearing from that soon. But anyway, I want to encourage people to attend if you're interested in that. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other board members with comments? Seeing none, we will move on to item B8, reports, starting with academic Senate report with President Stover.
Are we having fun yet? Board President Shaban, trustees, President Garcia, and members of the SRJC community. Thank you for this opportunity to update you today on the activities of the Santa Rosa Senate. I'm sorry I didn't have a written report for you. I did have a little bit of time to develop one today. So I'm just going to highlight some of the work that we've been doing in our first 2 meetings of the year. In the report that you'll receive after this meeting, you'll have links to all of the documents and all of the reports that were included in our April 20th and September 3rd meeting. We have passed a resolution in support of students' flexible attendance and participation at SRJC. And I am working at the state level to introduce a resolution at the ASCCC fall plenary to address system limitations that prohibited us from advocating for flexibility in, for instance, throwing up a Zoom link for students who might not be able to get to campus. So I continue to do that work. We also issued a support document with suggestions about how to be flexible, and we've disseminated that document. In terms of the business of the Senate, we are reorganizing the associate areas so that they are more equitable, and there are 2 senators per each associate area, and there will now be 3 associate areas instead of 2. Let's see what else is not the 2 big items. We passed a consent item continuing the military exemption for veterans credit that's embedded in Form DD-214. And I'm very grateful to my system partners who helped us put this back in front of the Senate, and we did the right thing by passing this. We also passed all of the recommendations that were put forward by our work group last year for faculty online teaching certification. And we will be taking up all those recommendations on action at our next Senate meeting. With the last 2-ish minutes I have left, I just want to highlight 2 topics that are of great controversy, consternation, and inspiration to faculty right now and to senators. Contract faculty hiring, it's AP 7210, and generative AI. As you know, 3 tools were introduced by Canvas and Instructure this summer. Suffice to say, we have more opinions about Gen AI than we have senators sitting at the table. We also have more ideas about how to define the administrative procedure than we have opportunities for implementing. I am working hard to find solutions, and I believe we work best when we work together. As far as the administrative procedure goes, Title V requires that we come to mutual agreement. So the Senate has to agree with the administration, and the administration has to agree with the Senate. That is not easy. And I'm working very hard to try to find a way. I also want to mention that the Gen AI tools in Canvas, they're not available yet, but if they do become available, they are optional, they are opt-in, and they have to be activated one by one. And I believe, this is me now, not me as president, I believe that faculty should have the right to choose, but that is not up to me, so we'll see what happens. So I also want to say I appreciate students. They have the right to participate. They change the nature of discussions when we include them. And I am working with Zach Miranda and SGA leaders to make sure that they are included. And I'm looking to maybe even include them in a non-voting seat on the Senate. And I'm consulting with statewide leaders to that end. So I very much appreciate the sentiment shared today, and that's my time.
Thank you. Next up, we have our classified Senate report with Linda J.
Good afternoon, President Shaban, Board of Trustees, Dr. Garcia, colleagues, and community. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of the Classified Senate. Congratulations to Lisa Hotchkiss, payroll analyst, on the September Employee of the Month. I've had the pleasure of working very closely with Lisa throughout my 19 years at this district. She has consistently been reliable, kind, patient, and a wealth of knowledge. I have appreciated her help and friendship tremendously throughout the years. It's wonderful to see her get her overdue and well-deserved recognition. I'm very happy to report that our Welcome Back table, hosted by Human Resources, located at the Crossroads outside of Bailey, offered assistance to around 1,400 students on the first week of school. This is a powerful reminder how even a single resource can make a meaningful difference in supporting our Cubs learning their way. The Classified Senate is in support of the joint resolution being presented today by the AFA, SEIU, and Classified Senate. This resolution reflects our shared responsibility to safeguard the dignity, rights, and opportunities of every member of our college community, especially now as national policies and rhetoric seem only to divide. SRJC must remain a safe and trusted place of inclusion, safety, and empowerment. By advocating for immigrant, LGBTQ+ and labor rights, and by ensuring that our students are informed of the resources and the protections available to them, we are upholding our commitment to cultivating a welcoming and anti-racist environment, removing oppressive structures, and fostering cultural competency and civic engagement. These actions affirm SRJC's vision of being an accessible, barrier-free institution and reflect our values of equity, community, integrity, and social responsibility. Lastly, the Classified Senate is concerned with the healthcare premium pay cuts shared by SEIU. These proposed health premium increases are not equitable, and they place the heaviest burden on the lowest paid employees of the district. Those negatively affected are the most are classified employees with families, the very people who keep this institution running day to day. Administration would be harmed the least. It's not equitable or just for the district to ask those who make the least to carry the greatest financial burden. This contradicts our commitment to equity, to community, to trust, and to well-being. This harms the very people who are already the most vulnerable. This institution used to have a proud history of leadership, taking the biggest cuts first, to ease the burden on those who could least afford it. That was a principle of fairness, of responsibility, and of shared sacrifice. We cannot build trust, equity, or a sustainable future by protecting those at the top while pushing down those at the bottom. We ask you to continue to work to reach an equitable agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we have the SGA report with SGA President William Garcia. No, not here. Yeah, I didn't see him. Okay, well, we will move on then to the AFA report with AFA President Ann Donegan.
Thank you so much. I wasn't here in August, so welcome back, everyone. Great to see you all. President Shaban, board members, President Garcia, and the college community. I am really happy to be here and looking forward to getting some really good work done for the district and its employees and its students this coming year. I want to start off by welcoming and thanking the AFA team who'll be working this year on the negotiations team. We will be led by Kay Frindell Tusher, Siobhan McGregor Gordon, Professor McGregor Gordon, who you hear spoke earlier, Jesse Paisley, Emily Schmidt, and Mark Boyanowski will do a great job advocating for our fabulous faculty. We also have our cabinet, which again will include Kay Frindell Tusher, Siobhan McGregor Gordon, Mark Boyanowski, Sarah Wiley, Ivan Turqui, who was here. Thank you, Ivan, who was passing out the copies of that joint resolution, and also Sean Martin. We are so excited to continue to work with the district's negotiations team led by Josh Adams. Josh is a straight shooter. He's really organized. He will tell us things clearly, even things that we don't want to hear, but we really appreciate his straightforwardness. He has a great team, and we're really looking forward to working with them again this year. We did have to meet over the summer, which isn't the norm, but because we had to negotiate the increase in healthcare benefits, which again, we understand are real things, right? I understand inflation for sure. I want to thank the district for negotiating with us fairly and honestly, and I think we got a good deal for this coming year. And I know it'll be something that we'll have to continue to negotiate for starting in 26, 27. I also want to say strongly that AFA strongly supports SCIU's claims today. We heard a lot of wonderful comments from our classified colleagues, and I can't say it better, so I'm going to steal from what they said. I think we really need to reconsider if we want to make those who are paid the least pay the most for adequate health care. So please do the right thing and work with my SEIU colleagues to reach a solution. You've also heard tonight that we are resubmitting AFA, SEIU, and the Classified Senate, and I really appreciate everyone's leadership here. The resolution that we brought to you last February about doing whatever you can do in your very influential positions to advocate for the most vulnerable amongst us. Our undocumented students and neighbors, people in mixed families, they need our help and protections. And I know I've been to many of the session chair. You guys have done really good work, but we need you to do more. Because as you heard Professor McGregor-Gordon say earlier, we have students and faculty members at Roseland, but also at off-site campuses who feel really frustrated that they don't know what to do if ICE shows up. I've been to some sessions and I know I got something in my mailbox and I put it up in my classroom about calling the president's office. But again, repeating what Professor McGregor-Gordon said earlier, if I was teaching at a library in Healdsburg or a community center in Sonoma Town, and ICE showed up at 7:30 at night, I would feel, I'm a proud daughter of immigrants, but I was born in the United States, so I'm a citizen of this country. But I would feel nervous for my students. And I just want clearer guidance, which is why folks, some of the faculty members who teach at these places have asked AFA, and we will be reaching out to Josh's team to talk about how we can improve the messaging and safety at these offsite locations. So AFA looks forward to having that discussion. I meant to say earlier, welcome to the new faculty. I will be clapping for you when you were announced earlier. Sorry, I meant to say that, wasn't looking at my notes. The last thing I want to say today is just a minute on academic freedom. I want to read the preamble to Article 9 of the contract between the district and AFA.
That is 5 minutes, so just a real
Sorry, I'll just
short.
read my quote.
Yeah.
At this, as the Supreme Court said in Cashian v. Board of Regents in 1967, our nation is deeply committed to safeguarding academic freedom, which is of transcendent value to all of us and not merely to the teachers concerned. The freedom is therefore a special concern of the First Amendment, which does not tolerate laws that cast a pall of orthodoxy over the classroom. We cannot have orthodoxy here. We are school, not church. We have to support the difference of opinions, right? Even as well-intentioned some of us may be, we have to allow people to have different opinions and different thinking. And I have more to say, but I also just want to thank Dr. Garcia for an email exchange we had earlier, for her support for things, for this value. So thank you so much. And again, let's all have a great year.
All right, thank you. And next up, we have our SEIU president report with Sandy Segala.
Good afternoon, President Shaban, Board of Trustees, Dr. Garcia, students, and colleagues in community. Thank you for your attention today. Employee of the Month, SEIU would also like to congratulate and recognize our classified professional, Lisa Hotchkiss, our confidential payroll analyst for Employee of the Month. We want to thank her and appreciate the work that she does on behalf of all of the employees here at the district. Very well-deserved recognition for Employee of the Month. Congratulations to Lisa. The AFA resolution, as Ann mentioned earlier, SEIU does and continues to remain supportive with this resolution that they brought forward as a reminder today that came from back in February 11th, 2025 this year, in referencing the SRJC as a sanctuary campus and protection to all students and employees. Restructure of shared governance. SEIU did participate this last academic year with the restructure of our shared governance committees, and in particular working with College Council and the participatory governance work group, and created a shared governance manual and realignment of the committees. SEIU continues to work with the College Council to implement changes made along with other constituent groups. SEIU seeks classified professional appointments for committees for this academic year, which is also shared with our classified Senate appointments. SEIU's membership meeting, we held 2 meetings this last end of the spring semester at the STEM building for union members only. And we did open up on PDA Day, where we had every classified invited to that meeting on PDA Day in August. Discussion topic was mainly in regards to health benefits. We had a great turnout with lots of concerns and issues that were brought forward by our classified. Schoen Farm, our CSA veggie boxes, it's a very popular disbursement of our CSA veggie boxes from Schoen Farm, which started this year mid-July. And as usual, as I've mentioned in the past, classified is greatly appreciative for this treat that SEIU has been able to provide for classified professionals, freshly picked veggies and fruits. Unfortunately, this will probably be the last year that SEIU will be able to provide this incredible veggie box distribution from Schoen Farm, as we will need to use these health funds to pay the 75% of cost into increased health benefits. This leads into my expanded information on health benefits funding. SEIU is reminded by our classified professionals to continue a good fight as we represent classified professional staff. The health care benefit cost increase to our classified is not acceptable. Several classified have spoken up, as well as several have submitted public comment by email to you today and are against the health benefit premium increases. Those harmed by this increased premiums are the lowest paid classified with families, as you can see with the spreadsheets that you have been given today. The district needs to do right as a public institution and keep the same level of medical coverage that we expect and deserve. Several classified have stated, and I quote, "We are an educational institution and the district should not move to a corporate model where money is made up from the backs of employees, and to begin paying any portion of our benefits is the same as receiving a pay cut," end of quote. This health benefit increase is unacceptable, especially when we learn about new remodels and reconstruction of buildings and expansions will be occurring in the near future. But yet there is no money in the budget, especially to provide for our health benefits. Seems like we depend on bond funding so we can spend more money as the district continues to build and expand. Yet we have yet to make enrollment numbers, even though we are going up, which we did here today. It's understood that we are getting better. We need to stop having the taxpayers pay the cost of any additional bond funding to cover added building structures when budget constraints and employment constraints are currently happening. More buildings being built, yet not enough staff to keep up with the maintenance of the buildings. Then we have the federal grant funding halt to our programs here at the college. With federal lawsuits, the federal government is holding disbursements of federal grants, which we will take a great effect to our classified professionals working under this funding to continue their employment. We do not have the 100% security yet to release of these federal dollars. We understand there's a plan at least to get us through December, but what then? I guess time will tell. The district may need to reorganize or shuffle or classify professionals to other departments in order to maintain their employment if federal funding is not approved by the end of this year. SEIU remains very concerned as time moves forward and the possibility that federal grant positions may not continue for our classified positions. And then finally, we continue to have our 6 shop stewards, and I do assist with them to continue carrying increased job caseloads for various work conditions and issues from various departments, areas, and our stewards work with our classified professionals and management and strive to reach agreements through all cases. Thank you, and this concludes my report.
Thank you. All right, that moves us to our information agenda, item C1, introduction of new regular faculty. We have Vice President Robert Holcomb. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Good evening, members of the board, Dr. Garcia, college community. I am thrilled to be up here to present to you 3 new tenure track faculty members who have started full-time tenure track faculty assignments at the college this semester. I understand that of the 3, they were all notified that we'd be doing this tonight. 2 of them, because of prior commitments, weren't able to be here, but one of them's here, and I'll call her out when we get there. But I'm happy to give you some background on each of them. First up, we have Dr. Jackson Deziel, who teaches emergency medical care or EMC at the Public Safety Training Center. A few anecdotes: he's fluent in French. He's widely published. He uses simulation-based learning resources. I'm recently been told that he wears a bow tie quite often, so you might be able to spot him that way around campus. Furthermore, he has a PhD from the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. He comes to us from Western Carolina University, where he's a faculty member and a department chair. We're thrilled to have him. So his dean, Josh Adams, is here, and we'll convey the sentiments that back to Jackson. Next, we have Camilla Trombino, who teaches in the English for Multilingual Students Department, or EMLS, at the SRJC Roseland Center. And she wasn't able to be here tonight. Her colleague, Daniela Kingwell, is here, who works very closely with her. But a few anecdotes about Camilla. She is a former SRJC student. She's a native Spanish speaker, comes to us from Glendale Community College, where she was an associate faculty member. She's also widely published. She co-hosted a language equity conference, and she has earned degrees from USC, UCLA, as well as La Universidad Iberoamericana from Tijuana, Mexico. So welcome, Profesora. We will send that sentiment to her as well. And then last but certainly not least, and we appreciate being in attendance with us tonight, is Peggy Scarborough. Peggy, why don't you wave? Would you mind? Yes, please, stand up. Peggy Scarborough teaches adapted physical education right here at the Santa Rosa campus. She's highly knowledgeable about disability rights, active in her professional community. She wrote a thesis about disability and aquatic skills. She studied the link between physical activity and academic achievement, and she's taught in a variety of different settings. She has earned degrees from Cal Poly Humboldt, where she also served as a teaching associate. So again, welcome, Peggy. Thanks for being with us. We're thrilled you're here. Yes. And in closing, I'll just say that I expect we'll hear more to come from all 3 of these new faculty members. They're all incredibly dedicated, fierce student advocates, and terrific instructors. So thank you, welcome, and we will continue to help their onboarding with the college so they're successful. So that concludes that piece. Thank you.
Thank you. That brings us to item C2, SRJC as a Hispanic serving institution, building a culture of servingness. Presentation with Drs. Holcomb and Vice President Senegal as well.
Yeah,
Please go ahead.
thank you, Board President. All right, good evening again, everyone. First of all, I'd like to say Happy Hispanic Heritage Month and Happy National HSI Week, right? VP Senegal and I are pleased to provide this presentation that's entitled SRJC as a Hispanic Serving Institution, Building a Culture of Servingness contra viento y marea. And that means against the wind and the tide, because certainly we do find ourselves in an environment of harsh elements, but our commitment to serving all student populations at SRJC will be unwavering. So we're certain about that. We'd like to focus on 3 things with this presentation. First, what it means to be a Hispanic serving institution. Secondly, where we've been as an HSI. And thirdly, where we're going as a Hispanic serving institution, given the shifting national backdrop. So we get this first question regularly: what does it mean to be an HSI? And the way we respond is that, we have a significant student population from this community at SRJC. 42% of credit student population, part of the Latinx or Hispanic community. And so because of that, we have a moral imperative to serve them equitably, right? Especially given the fact that that hasn't always been the case in terms of the historical context, where there's been a lack of access and a lack of equity. For us to receive the federal designation, all colleges to receive the federal designation have to have a enrollment percentage of 25% of your credit enrollment. And then with that, you can apply for the federal designation, and you can apply to receive federal grant funding. And so that's significant, and we'll see more about that in a moment. But we really see ourselves moving beyond just the federal designation. Being an HSI means transforming systems, structures to serve all students, and in particular this particular student population. And that's very much aligned with our mission, vision, values of the college. Since 2014, when we received the federal designation, we've been able to secure 4 grant programs. They have different funding levels, they have different program focuses, and they've all been, very, very beneficial to students. Literally thousands of students have gone through these programs, and they're very meaningful toward innovation, towards student-centeredness, and they've just been wonderful to help shape our college. In more recent years, we've actually gone to another level where we're not just focused on discrete educational initiatives, but toward kind of holistic organizational change and transformation. In 2023, because of Dr. Garcia and her connections, we had the unique opportunity to participate in an action research project with Dr. Gina Ann Garcia, who's essentially the leading voice in the HSI world. And we looked at a theoretical framework that has to do with organizational change. We've been able to participate in a partner resource team with colleagues from Mesa College, which they're really an established HSI, and we're getting kind of coached up about how to transform our organization in good ways. And then this past summer, a team of SRJC employees was able to attend a data institute at Excellence in Education, which is a national advocacy group and policy institute. And so where we find ourselves now is just moving beyond the discrete educational initiatives and and really engaging in the professional community and thinking more broadly. And we're not only attending these conferences, but we're making connections, and we're sometimes presenting our work. And so we're engaging in more bold and meaningful ways. What I will say, though, is that as we're starting to engage, the national backdrop is really shifting. So with that, I'll turn it over to my colleague, who's going to talk about kind of some of the changing policies.
Thank you so much, VP Holcomb. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you. I'm trying to be mindful about time. And so if you go to the next slide. So we just heard about what it means to be an HSI and some of the work that we have engaged in. And so what I'm going to share a little bit about is what is coming up. Where are we going? Before we go into this, I do need to give a little bit of a backdrop where we are, both at a national level and at a local level. So since January, we have received several different messages from the federal level, and they've been confusing. They've been talking about funding freezing. We've had fear about programs being taken away, money being taken away, messages that come and then are taken back. First memo was in January 2025. That was a notice that was said that many federal funding grants might be frozen to give time for review. Then that was rescinded, and then the funding was released. The July 2025 memo was a letter from the federal government that provided messaging that federal funds could not be used to support undocumented students. And then finally, in August of 2025, we have received messaging from the federal government that there's a potential that we may not have any HSI grants currently or going forward. We're not sure what's happening with the future of the grants. So all of this is creating a lot of confusion and questions for us. And since these messages have come out, we have had a work group of folks here at the JC who are connected to our federally funded program to work through how are we going to continue to make sure we can support students if funding is reduced or frozen. So this goes into our advocacy work. So first, we are very grateful for the Hispanic Association of Colleges and Universities that immediately put out a very strongly worded statement in support of exercise. We are aligned with them. We have provided our name, and us as an institution have joined them in support of defense for exercise. At a local level here at SRJC, we immediately went in and drafted Administrative Procedure 3415, which says what we would do if there's immigration enforcement activities on campus and how we are supporting our undocumented students and community. And as you heard from tonight, we've done a lot of good work and there's always more work to do. So I really look forward to partnering with all of you and how we can continue to improve and do more. The Dream Center has been fantastic in this work. I'm very grateful for the Dream Center and also for VITAS, which is the legal firm that provides free legal services for undocumented students. They have put together many communications, resources, trainings in English and Spanish, online, in person, at all of our sites. All of the resources we have provided are available at the Dream Center's website, which is linked here, or you can just type in SRJC Dream in Google and it will pull up the website with all the resources there. And then lastly, I do want to say how grateful I am for our academic center partners who drafted the August 2025 resolution in support of flexibility for students so they can continue to engage and attend their classes and be successful despite the heightened pressures of immigration activity in our communities. Okay, so these are the areas of focus what we're going to see when we come up. So we will have an HSI advisory group, which is a continuation of our HSI transformation group. This is an evolution of this as we put that work into action. We're continuing to work with our academic partners to create bridges from non-credit education programs to credit programs and other workforce programs. We'll continue with communication, the work that we are doing, what it means to be an HSI and how we're tying that into specific programming to support our students. Professional development, being an HSI is not limited to HSI programs. It is a part of everything that we do. So we want to provide professional development for all employees to help them understand what it means to be an HSI and how to engage in that work in every space that we go into. And then last but most certainly not least, I'm so excited to provide an update on something we have been working on for quite some time. So I am thrilled to share that the Latin Student Resource Center has identified a physical space that is currently being retrofitted. It's in this building, actually, the old Senate chambers. And so the Senate chambers moved over into Doyle. But it's currently being retrofitted, and we are starting programming this semester. We will have the grand ribbon cutting open for the space in spring, and we look forward to inviting you all. Super grateful for the team who has been working on this, including students. So thank you very much for that. So with that, I know I'm over time, and thank you so much, but I want to open it up for any questions.
Thank you. Trustee Fishman.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. If the worst comes to fruition and we lose our funding, this is just not a crisis for our community college, it's a statewide crisis. Is there any contingency conversations going on at the state level to compensate, or we're still in the what ifs? Or I mean, is there any?
Yes, so there are conversations happening both at the state level and the national level. And I will share at the state level, the California Community College System, they are talking about and looking at would it be feasible to do block grants. So if we don't have federal funding for some of these programs, because what block grants do, they give us flexibility to be able to shift resources because every district may have different needs. And so that's something that is continuing to be discussed. And I know, again, we've got Dr. Garcia doing incredible advocacy at the state level and bringing this to share. So that's one example at the state level. At the local level, I would say between Dr. Holcomb and I, we're working very closely with all the programs to identify every single thing that is federally funded that could potentially be subject to a reduction or being cut. We have gone through several scenarios in terms of how can we support services, either transitioning them, finding funding, combining programs, community partnerships. So please know, and many people in this room are involved in that work. So please know that we're not waiting to see what happens. We're preparing for to have this plan if and when something does happen.
Thank you. Other board members with questions or comments? Thank you very much for the presentation. Next, we'll move on to item C3, revised board policy administrative procedures, a first reading. Dr. Garcia, you have a brief.
Yes, very brief.
presentation.
As you heard earlier with Trustee Battenfeld giving a report out on the good work that the ad hoc committee has done, this presentation, as I've been bringing to each board just to provide the summary. So the revised policies that are here for first reading overview are in the left column. So as you can see, BP 2430, delegation of authority to the CEO, BP 2431, selection of the superintendent president, BP 2432, superintendent president succession, BP 2730, board member health benefits, BP 2750, board member absence from the state. On the far right-hand column, you see the revisions and whether it's connected to accreditation standards, if it's a new policy, or if it's replacing a former policy. We also indicate in here those which are legally advised. I'm happy to take any questions should there be any on the first reading board policies.
All right. Any board member comments or public comments? Seeing none, I will.
Okay, and then I just on
Yeah.
that one, and then also just as information only, the retired procedures is 0.12 legal services is being retired as that is operational. And 2.2.1P district superintendent, it's being retired because it's covered both in contract and job description. Okay, now that concludes all of it.
Thank you. So with any, did that last little piece stoke any board member or public comments? Seeing none, we'll move on to item C4, 2025 EEO annual certification form. There's no presentation associated with this. There's the attachment, but are there any public comments or board member comments on this informational item? Seeing none, we will move on to the consent agenda. That's items D1 through D9. Approval is item D10. Do I have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda? Any public comment on the consent agenda? Seeing none, we will go for our student trustee with an advisory vote. Student trustee Clark.
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? All right, the consent agenda is approved. That takes us to item E1, personnel actions. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comments? Seeing none. Any board member comments? Seeing none. Student trustee Clark.
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? The ayes have it. Next item, E2, warrants for July 19th to August 15th, 2025. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comments on this item or board members with comments? Seeing none. Student trustee Clark.
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? All right, the ayes have it. Item E3, instructor load reports for spring, summer, and fall 2025. Do I have a motion and a second? Any public comments on this item or board members wishing to speak? All right, seeing none, student trustee Clark.
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? All right. One abstention. This item is approved. Next up is item E4, the 2025 adopted budget for the Sonoma County Junior College District. Do I have a motion and a second? All right, and this does have a presentation. We'll go to Vice President Kate Jolly to present.
Thank you. Good evening again, President Chabon, members of the board, Dr. Garcia, and colleagues. I am pleased to be here today to present the 25-26 adopted budget for your review and approval. So when we adopted the 24-25 budget a year ago, there was a $6 million budgeted spend down for fund balance. I'm happy to report that as a result of backfill and increased reimbursement from the state, we were able to end the fund with a spend down of only $2.5 million. For the unrestricted general fund, we had 161.4 million in revenues and 163.7 million in expenses. Of those expenses, 62.7% went to salaries, with 39% for academic positions, 15% for classified professionals, 7.2% for management, and 1.6% for other salaries, which includes our students and STNCs. Benefits made up another 24.3%, bringing our total salary and benefit cost to 87.1% of our budget. That's slightly down from 87.2% last year, but still above the recommended level of 85%. When we break down the 24-25 expenditures by function, about 71% of our funding goes directly to instruction, academic support, and student services, which is exactly where we want the majority of our resources focused. Of the remaining funds, roughly 26% supports our district-wide administrative operations, and about 3% is allocated to other areas such as retiree benefits and required transfers. So approximately 92% of our unrestricted funding is directly tied to the number of full-time equivalent students, or FTES, that we serve. On the screen, you can see our FTES levels since 2018-19. The green line represents our funded level of 17,500 FTES under the long-range plan and our hold harmless, while the red line shows our actual FTES served, fading into purple projections through 28-29. These projections assume a 5.5% annual increase based on our enrollment management plan. If we meet these growth targets, we'll be just short of our goal by 27-28. Today, this enrollment gap represents about an $18.8 million difference between what we're funded for and what we report. Last year, that gap was 36 million. So while we still have a lot of work to do, I want to focus that we're making incredible progress. This is why our strategic plan is so central to our fiscal health. The access, retention, and success of every student directly impacts our funding under the student-centered funding formula, or the SCFF. I'm not going to do a deep dive on the funding formula metrics, but the next few slides show the SCFF calculation for 24-25 as of our July revision. On this first slide, you'll see three key parts: our base funding of 13 million, our FTES calculated revenue of 91.35 million, and a little over 15 million from our supplemental metrics, which include Pell and Promise Grant recipients, as well as our AB 540 students. This slide focuses on the SCFF success metrics. These are based on student completion. This includes the bonus funding we receive when a student completes a degree or certificate, while also receiving a Pell or Promise Grant. For this period, these success metrics generated approximately $12.75 million in funding. So while the SCFF is a critical driver of our budget, the hold harmless provision has a huge impact on how we plan for the future. Before 24-25, there were three different hold harmless provisions built into the formula. But starting this year, our 24-25 calculated hold harmless became our new funding floor going forward. And we are locked in at 138.8 million in column B. From here on, we'll receive the higher of what we earn under the SCFF calculation or our hold harmless floor. Additionally, we won't receive ongoing COLA increases until our earned revenue actually exceeds that funded level. Until then, we only received the equivalent of a COLA as one-time funds each year and only for that fiscal year. On the screen, you can see what this looks like if we hit our goals of the 5.5% annual recovery in FTES and 3% annual growth in the SCFF metrics under the enrollment management plan. It is projected we will be funded at our floor level from 25-26 until the recovery finally gets us above the funded level in 28-29, as shown in column C. All of this directly impacts our proposed 25-26 proposed budget. So every budget is built on a set of key assumptions for both revenues and expenses. These are the differences between the budgets for the previous and the current year. For the 25-26 adopted budget, our revenue assumptions include for our FTES, we're budgeted at the 17,500 under the hold harmless provision. We have a 2.3% cost of living adjustment on our state apportionment funds, which will bring in 3.19 million. As a reminder, these are one-time funds that will go away in 26-27. We've budgeted an additional $800,000 increase due to a higher state reimbursement percentage for part-time faculty office hours. We saw multiple small increases throughout the revenue accounts, bringing in a combined additional $122,000. With current interest rates, we're projecting an additional $300,000 in interest revenue. And we anticipate a $494,000 increase for lottery funding from the state to align with our FTES served. On the expenditure side of the budget, our major assumptions include, we've budgeted $4.35 million for salary adjustments, which include all settled agreements, estimates for ongoing negotiations, and other anticipated changes. We have our typical step adjustments of $2 million as employees move across the salary schedules. This is a significant increase over previous years due to the classification study implemented last January. We typically see between $800,000 and $1 million. We have a slight PERS rate decrease from 27.05 to 26.81% for a savings of $79,000. We have no changes to our STRS rate for 25-26. We're budgeting $434,000 or approximately 25% of the increased cost of health benefit premiums for the year. We have our typical uncontrollable cost increases, including areas such as insurance, utilities, legal fees, and other contracts for a total increase of $790,000. This is not a board election year, so we have decreased the budget by $100,000 for the district portion of those costs. We are significantly over our faculty obligation number. So in our most recent hiring cycle, we chose to not fill 10 full-time faculty slots and instead filled them with part-time faculty, resulting in a savings of approximately $350,000. And lastly, we've removed a one-time allocation of $250,000 from last year that is not continuing into 25-26. So incorporating that all into our 25-26 budget, for the unrestricted general fund, 63.4% of our budgeted expenses are in salaries, while benefits account for another 24.1% for a combined 87.5% of our budget, which is slightly higher than where we ended last year. When you add in the supply services and transfers, we are budgeting an $8.04 million decrease to our fund balance. One of the most critical factors in our long-term fiscal stability is our fund balance. Back in 2017-18, our unrestricted fund balance was only 5.4%. And through hard work and the implementation of our long-range plan, we grew it to 27.2% as of June 30th, 24. In 24-25, we reduced it to 23.7%, and the 25-26 budget will further reduce it to 18.2%. While all of this is still above the required 16.7% minimum, it is not sufficient to sustain us through the full recovery period as we restore. This will remain a key focus over the next year as we develop a comprehensive plan heading into 26-27. So our focus is typically on the general fund, but we also have 11 other funds that we actively operate, including our special revenue funds, our facilities related fiduciary and internal service funds. So these include Fund 33 is the operation of the Children's Center Lab and is primarily funded through federal and state contracts. Fund 34 is the non-instructional and operational revenue and expenses of the farm and is primarily funded from the sale of grapes. With a reduction in rates in the county, this is a fund that we will need to do additional work to ensure long-term stability over the next year. Fund 35 is the auxiliary enterprise fund for the commissions and expenses related to food services. Fund 39 is funded from parking fees and fines and accounts for all expenses related to parking and the lots, including some of the salaries of the district police department. With the loss of FTES in the district, this fund was structurally upside down. We spent this past year doing a deeper dive into the revenues and expenses and made significant progress bringing it back to a sustainable level. Fund 41 is for the federal, state, and local facilities related projects that are not part of the bond. This includes the federal and local revenue for the construction center, state match funds for bond projects, any scheduled maintenance funds from the state, as well as redevelopment funds from local property taxes. Oops, shoot. Help. Oh, there we go. Okay, sorry, got it. Okay, thank you. 44 is the Measure H Bond Fund and includes the remaining funds in the bond measure. The detail of the remaining funded projects can be found in the budget book in the agenda item. Fund 61 is where we pay our self-insurance expenses. This includes the lower portion of our property and liability claims as well as our dental claims. Fund 69 is the other post-employment benefits account, or OPEB fund, where we have the activity related to the early retirement options that employees may receive. The final three funds are in support of SGA. Fund 71 accounts for student government funds, such as the sale of the Cub cards. Fund 72 is where we account for the student representation fee, and Fund 73 is where we account for the student center fee. All three budgets are set by SGA, and the district provides fiscal oversight. So I really don't want us to lose sight of the tremendous progress that we've made since 2018. Our budget challenges were more than a decade in the making. And while we've made really great strides, it will take time and discipline to fully address them, especially as we work to avoid the drastic measures that could affect our community. So as we transition from fiscal stability to fiscal sustainability under the president's priorities in the previous year and the strategic plan this past year, I want to remind everyone that we have been planning for this for years and give one final update on the long-range plan to fiscal stability. So the long-range plan was approved in November 2018 in response to ACCJC's concerns about our years of budget deficits and then eventually placing us on enhanced fiscal monitoring. Since then, we've reduced expenses by 17.9 million, which paved the way to where we are today. Going into 24-25, we had 531,000 in reduction targets carried over from prior years. We achieved 306,000 of that last year, leaving 225,000 to be addressed in 25-26. That amount has already been incorporated into our budget and still needs to be fully realized. Additionally, any newly funded areas that we will have need to have a corresponding reduction in expenses elsewhere in the budget or be funded from a new funding source. And finally, I want to touch briefly on the possible capital improvement bond that we are currently assessing and address some misconceptions on it. This bond is not about funding the operations of the district. Its purpose is to provide long-term investment in our facilities and infrastructure, ensuring that our teaching and learning spaces are safe, functional, and up to date. Right now, there is no sustainable level of funding from other sources to meet these capital needs. While we receive occasional one-time allocations of scheduled maintenance funds, in the last decade, we have received less than 10 million in total. To put that into perspective, the cost of the roof and HVAC project for Emeritus cost 7.58 million. Not only is there no ongoing state capital funding allocated to colleges, the state has actually encouraged more localized approaches to ensure that campuses remain safe, modern, and conducive to learning. Without a successful bond measure, the district will be forced to consider significant cuts out to areas outside of the classroom just to keep our facilities safe, operational, and compliant for things that are as basic as heat, air, water, and preventing leaks. We'll share the results of the polling with you next month, and I look forward to continuing that conversation. Looking ahead, so we need to work to manage the remainder of any financial gap. We know we will need to make some reductions over the next few years just to maintain operations. Now that we have completed our strategic plan, which is our roadmap forward, we need to create a budget allocation model that helps us achieve our action steps. To that end, we will be requesting that the Planning and Budget Council recommend the creation of a multi-constituent work group to evaluate, develop, and recommend a fair, transparent, and data-informed model for the allocation of financial resources across the college. The charge and draft deliverables of the work is on the screen, but the goal is to address our budget challenges and align with our funding priorities, and to ensure that budget decisions we make support our mission, advance student success, and strengthen institutional sustainability. So we've made incredible progress since 2018. We stabilized our finances, we built healthy reserves, and we've planned for the challenges we now face. But we're also at a critical point. And to effectively move from fiscal stability to fiscal sustainability, we must continue to align every decision with our strategic plan. Our fiscal health and our mission are deeply interconnected. Our students are at the heart of this. Every new enrollment, every retained student, every completion, each one strengthens our funding under the SCFF. The work ahead won't be easy. It will require us to make hard decisions, but they will be intentional, transparent, and informed. Together, we have an opportunity and a responsibility to work collectively across all departments, groups, and sites to ensure that SRJC remains a place where students can thrive. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you. First, are there any public comments in the room? Seeing none, they'll go to the board. Any board members with any comments? Dr. Garcia, did you have something to say, or is your mic just lit up? All right. Yeah, Trustee Bentonfeld.
I mean, I don't have any questions. I just want to say thanks. It's just really good to have this thorough a budget and presented it. And I just really appreciate seeing where we're going and the successes, and also knowing what the challenges are and how we're addressing them. So thank you. This was very helpful. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, I'd just echo that. Thanks for all of your work. You know, I sat through the board finance committee meeting as well, and just you know, it took a lot of work and planning to get where we are, and it's going to take a lot more work and planning to get where we need to be. You know, because we want to avoid, you know, the problems they've had at, you know, other institutions not too far from where we are. And so, yeah, definitely appreciate that work and look forward to continuing collaboration with the board and administration and constituency groups on this.
Thank you.
So with that, we had a motion and a second. So we're ready to go to our advisory vote. Student Trustee Clark.
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? All right, the budget is approved. Next, we are on item E5, trustee compensation. Do I have a motion and a second?
Motion.
Any public comment or board members with comment? Seeing and hearing none. Student Trustee Clark.
Aye.
All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed or abstain? The ayes have it. And then we are on to item E6, resolution 12-25 for change order number 11 on Tozzer Gym modernization. Do I have a motion and a second on that? Any public comment or board members wishing to comment? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote. Kalani, please call the roll.
Student Trustee Clark.
Aye.
Trustee Bailey.
Aye.
Trustee Battenfeld. Aye. Trustee Bricker. Aye. Trustee Fishman. Aye. Trustee Martinez. Aye. Trustee Valdovinos. Aye. Trustee Shaban.
Aye. All right, that resolution is approved. And with that, that concludes our agenda. Thanks for everyone who attended today and those of you who stuck it out through the end. This meeting is adjourned.